Welcome to the Terri Talks. I'm your host, Terri Brown, and I'll be talking on Tuesdays with real people about real challenges and solutions in real estate investing.
Hello. We are always super excited. Just another opportunity to be in the land of the living, another day that the Lord has given us. And so we always want to approach these situations, these segments, this time with just a heart of gratitude, right? There's a lot going on, but here we are positioning ourselves to 10x our finances, right? In various ways to eradicate some things that could possibly be in our DNA where finances are concerned, to position ourselves to increase in income, and impact and influence, right? That's a winning recipe. And as a result of that, we want to approach these segments as super excited as possible. Because here's what I know. What you put in will be definitely what you get out of anything. And so if you come to this as another obligation, you're not going to really get the substance that could come from it, right? And our topic tonight is it's just profound in and of itself. And it's something that we are aiming for in the collective. Welcome to another Monday's Mastermind with the infamous Curtis May. We had part 1 last week. Today we have part 2. But before I do that, I want you to be reminded of why we started this collective and the importance of it. And I want you all to really take serious. Sometimes it's easy to go into our own little silos. Everybody has a busy life, and it's kind of okay to be doing our own thing. And there's nothing in and of itself wrong with that. However, we're in a state and time of history that is going to take some collaborative efforts to do some things that we need to get done. And just to make sure our quality of life remains intact and we can continue to live and thrive, right? You guys know me and you hear me say this often, and I hope you don't get tired of it. I pray that it gets so etched in your spirit that it becomes you. I believe that God created us for more time, more relationships, more money, more life. I don't believe he created us for cycles of stress, strain, or perpetual cycles of stress, strain, struggle, and survival. I don't believe that. Do I believe things have happened that have caused us to find ourselves in certain situations? Absolutely. But just as we had the power to get into a particular thing, good, bad, or indifferent, we also have an obligation as God gives us breath to really come into alignment with what his will for our lives are. And it is these kinds of environments that are going to be so critical and important in life in general, but even more so now because there is a lot of traffic and there's a lot of noise and there's a lot of things that are happening that if you're not careful, you'll get so looped in that you'll lose sight of where you should be and which direction you should be going in. The other thing that it can do is just drain the mess out of you, where you have literally no energy to do anything mentally, emotionally, physically, or even financially. But this is not the time to get in a stupor, look away. This is the time to put your head down for you, your family, and your community and go after it, right? Some things are long overdue. I personally feel like for us as a community and so there are some things that should always be in play and that we should always be tapping in. But I had a bishop who said sometimes we don't need to be informed as much as we need to be reminded. So tonight we're talking about establishing your own banking system. You really need to be sharing with people about the collective because here we're all about building businesses, investing in real estate. I'm going to DR at the end of the month. We're going to be doing more international investing. I'm going to tell you all a little bit about that and the opportunities you'll have there. And again, people say these sexy terms like I want to build generational wealth and, and legacy and generational wealth, but they forget nothing just happens. You have to position yourself to build that and create that. And we believe that inside of here, you'll have all of the supports, you'll have the resources, you'll have the tools, you'll have the tactics that can help you get there in a safe, easy, seamless, and expedited way, right? That's what community should be about. We get to pull on one another. So, make sure you share the collective with your family and your friends. This is the time to come together, lean in on one another, be in an environment that celebrates you, not tolerate you, that can elevate you, not try to diminish you. Like these are the type of communities that you need to be in. And I want to encourage you to do that. We have the link in the chat. Have people get in, because when we start, buying, we're going to start cutting some things off. And we have to do that based on just how we will be conducting those transactions overseas and domestically. So without further ado, our guest, he may be new to a few of you, and some of you may already know him, but I want to give him an opportunity to introduce himself in his typical Curtis fashion. He is a trusted advisor, and he's an experted person in this field of financial services. I like to say he has the connections of all connections, and that's super important when you're trying to build and when you're trying to course correct some things. I mean, we're talking about changing the trajectory of historical financial gaps that we are often plagued with in many areas, not just finances, but in education and housing. But how many know you need the finances to be able to affect change and to move the needle in all of these other areas? He is that guy. I love him. We fight a lot. Well, we fight often enough, but it is in good humor, and it's good for dialogue and growth. And so I appreciate you, sir, for once again coming to our community and being an asset and offering your gifts, your talents, and your skills, and your time and energy. So without further ado, Curtis May.
All right. Thank you. Just a little bit. So I guess welcome. So I'm Curtis, and I'm the host of the Practical Wealth Show podcast and the chief financial strategist of Practical Wealth Solutions. And one of the things I specialize in and what I'm known for is helping families and business owners manage their money so that they feel safe and free at the same time. And really, we focus on 4 things: figuring out where you are now, understanding what you have and what you don't like about it, making sure your money flows well for saving and growing, which leads us into our topic today, which is being the bank. And then we want to make sure that you're protected no matter what happens, and helping your money grow over time. Because when you do planning, we call it principle-based planning, what we teach, or holistic planning. You have to have a plan that works no matter what. And so most typical financial plans we talked about last week are basically built on hope, and they only work one way: when the market's up, when things are well, and life happens. And so you have to have a game plan that no matter what happens, because you're going to live too long, you're going to die too soon, you're going to get sick. Your plan still got to work. Rates are going to go up, rates are going to go down. Your plan still got to work. You're going to have fires, you're going to have theft, you're going to get sued. Your plan still has to work. So you have to have a plan that works under all circumstances. And most people don't have that, because they're just following Wall Street. So, and that's what we do. That's what we talk about. So
let's dive into the topic of the hour, or for the hour. So we hear this term, infinite banking, right? And, a lot of people, definitely in the real estate investing space, is something that they really, really seek out, right? That's like one of the, I don't want to say ultimate goal, but a goal. As you're growing, you're building your portfolio, you're growing your wealth, you're growing your net worth, et cetera, et cetera. But tell us what infinite banking is.
So infinite banking is a process, all right? And it is not a product. So people tie it to a product. It is not that, Okay. And so it's a process and really a way of life. So let's take a step back. What is banking? Okay. Banking is, storage. So every transaction that happens has to flow from one party to another. And there's only one pool of money that's controlled by banks, insurance companies, and Wall Street. So banking is all about creating a pool of capital that you control that can move at cost to meet some needs you have. So it's a thought process and a philosophy. It's not, people think it's a product. It's about insurance. It's not. Okay. And, so it's a thought process. Do you want to control? And the author of the concept, I'm going to hold up a book for y'all if you might not be, if you're listening to this, but I'm holding up a book called Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash. And so this is, you see, if you look at to see how worn mine is, I had to go take it to Staples and get it perforated because this is our textbook. We teach clients from this book. So when you're hearing this stuff and the person who's telling you about it doesn't almost literally beat you over the head with the book, they don't know how to do it. They're not doing it. They're not doing it properly. I just got back from the Infinite Banking think tank where all the top practitioners gather once a year. That's a couple things a year, but on how to do it, on how to follow the banner of Nelson Nash of how to set this up properly. And so that's what it is. It's really a study of money. Are you controlling your own money? Who controls the banking function in your life? Because 35 cents of every dollar that you comes into your household leaves your life in the form of debt to others. So the process is about capturing that 35%. Because see, people are, Terry, they're always trying to invest. They're chasing rates of return. They're, they're trying to, they feel like they're behind. So they're trying to hit home runs. Okay. And, but if so 30, depending on if you are in business or you have a job, but let's say 40% of your money leaves your household in the form of taxes. Okay. 35% leaves your household in the form of debt and the rest to lifestyle. And you're lucky if you save according to the Federal Reserve, most people are saving less than 5% of their income. And then that money, if I really were to break down, they're not really saving it because they're putting in mutual funds, and mutual funds is not saving. They're investing it. So they're putting money in 401k. So they put their money in jail for 30 years. And so when they need a car, when they need some big ticket item, since they don't have access to their capital, what do they have to do? Right? Borrow, finance cars, finance stuff, because they're taught to put their money in little, what I call silos and 529 plans and just these different things. We don't have extra money. So you need to use other people's money because see, you finance everything you buy. Right. And so, because even when you pay cash, all that means is you finance it. So it's really one of the things that I try to do, Terry, is I teach people how money works, the financial physics. And one thing is, we've given up control of our money because we have been taught you're not smart enough. You don't have the time, the temperament, or the training to manage your own money. So the going rule of thought is, hey, you don't know how to do this. Just give your money to us. Right. And that's what you see basically. If you boil down all the language you see on TV every week or during football games, during basketball finals, during golf tournaments sponsored by such, is basically give your money to us. And their objective is not make you rich. Their objective is assets under management. So if you're listening to this show, you have to you have to create your own financial freedom, because investing is not about, we talked about this last week, it's really not about buying something. It's about becoming something, right? It's become, then do, then have. So the most operative word on the title of this book is becoming your own banker, right? So it starts out with how you think. And so this is our textbook. So when we talk, I'm going to show things from the book so that I want people to understand it. I make people read you. If you call me, I'm going to make you read the book. You got to buy the book first or don't call me. Right. And then if you call me, I will give you your listeners a bonus. Well, I'll give them a checklist of how to read the book. You don't need to read it start to finish. And then I'll give you a little report towards the end to go with it, but how to read the book and how to get the thought process in your mind. And so what happens is, think of the process of banking like a turbocharger, right? So a turbocharger makes everything more efficient and works harder. So if you're an investor, it'll make you a better investor. It's not about rates of return, but it'll help improve your rates of return. It's not about, so the first page in the book and page 2, Nelson said the whole idea is to recapture the interest that one is paying to banks and finance companies for the major items that we need during our lifetime, such as automobiles, major appliances, education, investment opportunities, business equipment. This book, hear me now, is not about investments of any kind. It's about how one finances the things of life, which can certainly include investments. It's not about rates of return. Hear me. It's not about arbitrage. No, all that dumb stuff y'all call me about, right?
Hey, man, that's not dumb. Hold it.
Well, it's dumb because the people that are saying it don't know the process, okay? It's not about arbitrage. It's not about rates of return. It's not about, people come with their spreadsheets. Well, I got this and I can get 4.5% in the high yield account with my Goldman Sachs. Okay, but when you withdraw the money, you're earning nothing because there ain't no money in the daggone account.
I thought you was talking about arbitrage and
No.
Hosting. I thought you was talking about like Airbnb arbitrage.
No.
Okay, never mind. Okay, all right.
No, sorry. No, I wouldn't. No, because listen, you need leverage. Like you can't, you're not trying to get out of debt. So you have to let that Dave Ramsey stuff go, right? You need to use other people's money. So when you're following this process, you want to save your money and use other people's money so that your money never stops working, right? So you want to have access to money and uninterrupted compounding. And so what happens is rates go up and down, but the process of banking goes on no matter what. Okay. And it's a well-known fact. When rates were low, like 1-2%, banks were making more money, okay, than they are now. And, so it's not a get rich quick plan. And so we say, look, financial plan as if you're going to live forever and live as if you're going to die today appears to be a good thought. So, and we talk about saving. When I say savings, here's how I define it: safe, liquid, accessible, guaranteed. So you can't have too much capital. And right. So once you get past your, what I call emergency/opportunity fund, everything above like 4 months is your opportunity fund. Then you should be focused on how can I make my money make more money? So you want to move from what I call the accumulation theory, where you are hoping markets go up and you can save enough money, to whereas what we teach people is once you have your capital, you should be looking for what we call cash flow engines, right? So there's 4 asset classes: business, which is the fastest path to cash. So if you look at those, most of them are first generation, or if you read Success Secrets of Black Millionaires, or if you read The Millionaire Next Door, how are they millionaire next door? They built businesses in this order. I'm telling you too. They build businesses. They buy real estate. They take the profits from their business. They buy real estate, which now gives you tax breaks because the tax law is designed for landowners and business owners, right? And then now you're buying, it's still a business too. So all real estate investors, I got to understand y'all in business, right? So you need to be doing P&Ls every month and all that. So profit and loss. And so that's my hardest thing, because mostly I work with real estate investors, small business owners, and families that are aspiring to that. And you have to think like an entrepreneur. You have to think like what I call a work creator, right? Because there's 2 economies. There's the trade hours for dollars economy. And so then you're taught to buy and hold, max out your 401k, buy term investor difference. But you're moving into the performance economy, whereas income is a result of creating value in the marketplace. So that's a whole different thought process. And so once you enter the performance economy as an entrepreneur, here are 2 decisions that you must make if you're going to win. Is you got to determine that nobody else will ever be responsible for bringing money to your family. Go ahead.
Okay, because I want you jumped a couple of times. So I want us to make sure we close the loop. You gave 2 books that I want you to circle back to. And then you started going over the 4 asset classes, but you got to 2.
Well, I'm sorry.
And then that's okay. So Give
why
me
you're
those
here,
2 books
the host.
again. Absolutely. Give us the 2 books again so we can
So
put
the
it.
book number 1 is Becoming Your Own Banker. I don't know if I said the second one, but
You did something about a choice, and then something about some secrets, Black secrets, or
Success Secrets of Black Millionaires by Dennis Kimbrough.
one more time.
Success Secrets of Black Millionaires.
Okay, great.
And
And
what was the other one?
something about a choice.
No, it's not that one. It's the Millionaire Next Door.
Okay, Millionaire Next Door. Okay, so those were the 3 books, and we'll make sure that these books be in the show notes. Then you started going over the asset classes, and you
Right.
got to business and real estate, which, I mean, y'all should see
Do I need
why.
to go further?
Now y'all know why this
Right.
community
So here's the
what it
third
is.
one. So it's business, real estate, paper.
Huh?
Okay. So let me expand
what's
on
the fourth
paper.
one?
The fourth one is commodities.
Yeah.
Okay. So for most people, it's business, real estate, paper, unless you're a credit investor where you could pay commodities like oil and gas, gold and silver. Although I don't view gold and silver as an investment. Okay.
No, and we're gonna have opportunities to
Right.
invest
We're gonna
in
go
gold.
there.
And we're gonna go
No,
there.
I like
And
it.
here,
I just don't view it
and
as
here.
investment. I view it as money. Okay. No. I view it as money. And so, but let's just stay on the top 3. So it's business. I call it the ugly cash flow triangle: business, real estate, paper. Right. So paper, y'all know real estate, and there's tons of ways to do that. And that's why Terry's here, to coach y'all and be in her community. Business, there's lots of different ways to do a business, but there's only like 4 ways to grow revenue in a business. And I teach that. We're actually going to start a business owner community for that, because I don't see that many good business groups, at least locally where we are. So I'm going to start one.
No, and that's the pulse of our community, the collective, is to help build solid, sustainable businesses where they are operating with efficiency. And, somebody told me, oh, I got a business. Okay. Do you have consistent clients? Do you have consistent cash flow? No, you don't have a business.
And how do you do that? Right.
Yes.
And so that's where I'm good. Like I'll listen, and cause I'm 3rd generation. My dad was in business. My grandfather was in business. So, and I never, my dad told me never make any money work for somebody else. So I went to Winston-Salem State, go Rams. And I thought you majored in business to go into business. So it didn't really occur to me to go work for somebody else. That wasn't the plan. I just realized the NBA was not looking for 5'11" 2 guards. Kind of thrust me into the dream early. So the paper though is what you're thinking about: mutual funds and 401ks. Mutually, which are still mutual funds. It's also EFTs. It's I'm still debating on where I think crypto lies, because I view it as a speculative asset. So, but I would call that paper. Not a huge fan yet. And tax liens, notes. I've got a lot of clients that buy notes, short-term, long-term notes, getting 8-9%. You could paper syndications. Syndications are kind of real estate and paper. What else? Other things called life settlements is paper. So the reason for my show exists because I was realizing, look, there's a lot of things you can do outside of Wall Street. And, I'm curious. And so I interview a lot of these type people where we're talking about. And one of the things I try to get across is that success leaves clues, right? So even if they're a syndicator with, or a multifamily person with, I had this guy interviewed a couple of months ago, 50 multifamily properties. But he bought them all with owner financing. So he's only used for his $300 million of properties, like 200,000 of his own money. Well, how did he do that? What's he thinking about? What do you do? Where do you find them? So I talk about that kind of stuff, right? And so if they are a big syndicate, a lot of them start out with a duplex, right? And how do they underwrite deals? See, so even when you're listening, when you're hearing these shows, you should be taking notes. And how can I add that to my thought process? Because success leaves clues. And so you can cut down on your learning time by getting around successful people, paying attention, and then creating, so when you're listening to this, you should be creating. I have our clients, when I work with them, Terry, create what I call an action now list. and I want to find out what they want and what they want to take action on. So action now, write down, I'm going to pick up Become Your Own Banker.
Yep. So, and I'm so grateful that you're one of our contributors in our community. And so, we'll be doing a ton of things. They'll be seeing a lot of you. But you did hit the head on the nail, which is you have to start thinking and putting yourself in these stories, right? In these scenarios, in this process. And he's going to delve a little bit more into the process, but it first...
And the product. I'm going to go into the product, but I want people to understand there's a difference.
Understood. But I'm going to say it's key important, right? That before it can take root externally, it has to take root internally. And so you have to be able to grasp this stuff in such a way that it's becoming of you. That's that whole, one of the things, places he and I are aligned on is we don't believe people have a doing problem. We believe people have a being problem. And a part of you becoming is you embracing this and embodying this and seeing yourself in this. So with that, who is infinite banking for? Is it for the other guys or the ultra rich? Who is infinite banking for?
Yeah, no, it's really not. So even in the book, he starts out teaching, I don't know if I'm going to recreate it just for inflation, a 28-year-old young man that was buying cars, and he would put, $25, $30 a month into term insurance, but pay $250 a month on a car loan. Whereas if he'd have put that $250, $300 a month in a properly designed dividend paying whole life policy, that's the product we use, for 2 or 3 years, he'd have had enough money to buy the car himself using his system, right? Because a lot of times when you get, just understanding what's going on, we say, if you know what's going on, you know what to do. It's not for rich people. It's if you got money, it's great. It's really, you just have to have patience. You have to save money. So saving money starts with, you've got to learn to spend less than you make. Okay. So I don't care if you work at McDonald's, you could do this. Now, the problem is you got to have the discipline. You got to think long range. See, most people are, if you're stuck in scarcity, this won't work for you. If you're not coachable, it won't work for you, but you don't need a lot of money. I got clients that make 50,000. I got clients that make $500,000. I got people that put $10,000 a year, $5,000 a year. I got people that do $100,000 a year through the strategy, but it's all relative to what you're doing. Like, so I teach people to frame my framework. I'll hit this real quick and then we'll get into it, because who's it for? Is if you're coachable, if you've got a family, if you care about, leaving a legacy, because when I work with people, here are the 4 outcomes that we're trying to achieve, Terry. The first pillar of a strong personal economy is freedom from debt to others. That doesn't mean get out of debt. That means you want to capitalize the system so that if you're going to be in debt, if you owned your own bank, meaning your own pool of money, who should be your own best customer? Your family, your business, right? So that's one. Pillar number 2 is ready cash when you need it. So I want you to be liquid 6 to 12 months. We got to work towards that. My third pillar, and this is where Terry comes in, you've got to develop passive, or what I like to call asset-based income you don't have to work for and you can't outlive, right? And then the fourth pillar, we both believe in this, is a legacy of wealth and the wisdom to go along with that wealth. And I want that wealth to transfer tax-free. Okay. So that's the result. That's the end of the movie. That's what I do. Okay. Chris, what do you do? I do that. I help you do that. Okay. Just for clear. So now here's the framework. Principles drive strategy. So now banking is a strategy. So here is the framework for the banking strategy. So the principles are spend less than you make. There's 6. Spend less than you make, save 15, 20% of your gross income, maximum protection. So you have to play defense, legacy, guaranteed, 6 to 12 months of liquidity, and focusing on velocity of money. So when you're in Terry's community, y'all are working on velocity, not accumulation, right? So you need a coach for that. Okay. But I'm telling you, the accumulation theory will not get you where you think you want to go. All right. So now principles drive strategy. I'm going to talk about one strategy, being the bank. So here's the framework for that. We teach people to do that. You want to earn money, obviously, because I can't steer a parked car. Then you want to bank it. Bank it meaning save it somewhere that allows you to be the bank. All right, I'm talking about that next. You want to borrow against your bank, collateralize it. You want to spend it. What do you spend it on? Major capital purchases. What is that? Anything you can't pay for in full within monthly cash flow, then you don't want to use your cash and liquidate your capital. You want to save your cash and use other people's cash, get what you want, and have your money grow uninterrupted. All right. And then the earn it, bank it, borrow it, spend it, repay it. Oh, the other thing you spend it on is opportunities to make money, right? So down payments for coaching programs, for big, things that make money is notes. We have people, buying. We got people do all kinds of stuff with their capital, right? And then you repay it with interest, right? So if you were to, let's say you're a real estate investor and we can get you money from the financial institution, our financial institution, the insurance company at 4%. And what's a hard money lender cost?
They're ranging right now from 11% to some upward, I want to say 13, 14%.
So now here, get this. So if you used it for your own bank, then if you were willing to pay outside capital for 11%, what should you charge yourself for? Because your bank, air quotes, and your business are two separate things. So you have to you have two businesses. One that gives you a paycheck, and the banking business, you have to run it like a business. We teach our clients to treat it like a franchise, and then you repay it with interest, and then you wash, rinse, and repeat. So strategy drives, notice this is last, tactic. So a strategy is what you do. So it's be, then do, right? And a tactic is what you buy. Right? So what do we buy to implement the strategy? Hear me now. Properly structured dividend paying whole life, not universal life. Okay. Hear me. Okay. That's like you said, using IBC and index universal life in the same sentence is like cursing. If you get around me, I almost want to smack you in the mouth. And they'll smack me back.
Sir, we do not promote violence on the Terri Talk Show.
Don't let this
I am too, but we have been delivered. We ain't going to be busting people in the lips. But
I'm
your
not.
point taken.
Duly
noted.
I feel very strongly about that, but because there's a lot of charlatans that teach that, and it's just, it doesn't work. And if you email me, I have a mini course. I'll show you how all the insurance works, term, a whole life, and universal life.
I know it comes from a very good place. So
from a good place,
you
gotta know how it works, because if you have to get with somebody that understands this stuff, right? And because I'll most time I'm cleaning this stuff up, people will call me, they heard something, let me get whole life, and they can call me after I do a workshop. Yeah, I bought whole life, or I have term insurance with my job. Can I do it? No. I have term insurance. Can I turn it over? No. Depends on where it is. It's got to be convertible with a good company that you can do it with. And properly structured dividend paying with a mutual company. So that statement, I've just narrowed the field down from, I want to say, 1,500 companies, 2,000 companies, down to about 15 that you can do it, have the right riders that like the concept, because there's mutual companies that don't really love the concept and they penalize their agents. They won't structure it so you get early cash value. That's why I mean by properly structured. And then they really push against you actually using the cash value, even though it's contractual that you can do so. So you've got to be somebody that supports you, where you have community, where you're getting service. We help our clients create amortization schedules. I had a guy this morning call up, get a loan. Sorry, when you get the loan, we've already calculated his payment. He's going to pay off a credit card. I said, look, you're paying this. I want you to pay this back to the insurance company. And then once we clear it up, guess what? That's for him, it was like $600. That's $600 a month of free cash flow that now goes to savings. Right. So and before we even teach banking, we teach a system of cash flow control. We call it cash flow mapping, because if your outflow is greater than your inflow, then your upkeep becomes your downfall. So Like I start,
Which is why we're doing that challenge. I'm going to plug that here. We're doing a 3-day challenge, 30K in 30 days, because we do want you to prioritize liquidity. It's important that our cash flow be as high as it can be, and that we have it flowing in order to make certain moves. This is not one of those things you think you're going to be able to put $50 in and then, you'll be able to do that, but it's going to take you about 25 years, right? So here's the plug. We got a 30K in 30 day, which Curtis will be there with us. And it is a 3-day challenge. The information will be in the chat. You should register and you should have other people register. It is, portion of it, the general admissions is free for collective members. And it's $17 for collective members for the VIP portion, where we dive a little bit deeper and we give you actual plans. For non-members, it is $17 for general admissions and $47 for VIP. They should be putting that in the chat. So it's important, right, that you approach these things. If you're going to take advantage of the process to get the end result, you have to be able to put in, right? Like, it's not just going to happen, but we're going to help us do that. And that's for business. We're going to teach you how to get, use other people's money to fund your business. We're going to also teach you just how you can invest in real estate, a very low barrier to entry to get your liquid up before you then have to expose your credit, your cash, and all of those things. So this is the things you want to plan for it now, right? Nothing just happens. You want to be able to plan for it in advance. Go ahead, Curtis.